You lot thought this was a joke. You lot thought this was a gimmick. You lot thought we were pretending. Manchester United 2, Tottenham Hotspurs 0, and that is 4 wins in a row for Manchester United, 4 wins in a row for Michael Carrick. And I know there's a lot of rival fans, making noise, telling us, oh, don't get too excited, it's just a new manager bounce, the run of form is going to end, and we'll see the real Manchester United. Let me tell you something, let me break something down to you right now. This is not a new manager bounce. It's not even a bounce. We are 30,000 feet up in the air right now. We are flying Air Carrick. Air Carrick is flying right now, okay? And we've arrived. Listen, Michael Carrick, Mikel Carrico, you are changing lives, my amigo. Yeah, you're changing my life. You're changing all Manchester United fans' lives right now. This feeling right now, I can get used to it. And long may it continue. But before I do that, I do want to discuss the games. And of course, I'm going to start off with the lineup first. And this is the thing I'm loving about Michael Carrick at the moment, which I didn't see under Amram. It's the fact that now I can see an identity. I can start to recognize what my Manchester United 11 looks like. Something that I couldn't tell you under Amram. I couldn't tell you who was going to start. I couldn't tell you who was going to play where. But under Michael Carrick, 4 games, and I now already have an idea as to what his team looks like, what his 11 looks like, what his backline looks like, what his attack looks like. And yeah, I can get used to that, man. It's a good feeling because now I can go into games knowing how we're going to play. Now I get a feeling of what to expect rather than going into every game with this anxiety feeling or being nervous or not knowing what's going to happen. But now, of course, you can now start to get a gist of, what the back line is, what the midfield is, and what the attack is. And again, of course, he's gone with the same lineup. You got Lamens in goal. You got Luke Shaw left back, Dalot right back, 2 centre-backs, Maguire and Alessandro, which I think right now, that looks like the strongest 4. Maybe I could switch out Mazzarri for Dalot, but at the moment, Dalot is playing well, so there is no reason to drop him. And then the midfield 3 of Bruno, Casemiro and Kobe Mainoo. And then the attack, of course, you got Cunha, Ahmad, and then Mbeumo up front. I'm not gonna lie to you, strong, man. And again, another dominant display, another great performance. And we started off the game strong, compact, organised, and moved with intention. I think this is the difference I've noticed with this Manchester United team under Michael Carrick than under Amram. Is the fact that we are playing with intention. We are playing with the intention to win football matches. And that's the most basic thing you could ask for as a Manchester United fan or any fan of any football club, is to have your team play with the intention of winning games. And we started off really, really strong. And of course, Romero had the early red card. In my actual opinion, I do think it was a bit harsh, but listen, I'm going to be petty, I'm going to be shameless, and I simply don't care because I've seen our players get red carded for the exact same incident. I remember the game against Spurs at Old Trafford a couple of years back where Bruno Fernandez got red carded for something quite similar and quite harsh. I've seen Casemiro get red carded for similar tackles. So listen, the game's the game. You win some, you lose some. Sometimes it's your turn, sometimes it's their turn. And ultimately, it benefited us and we took advantage of that. And then not too long after that, Mbeumo finds the opening goal. And now it was an amazing set piece. Like I said, whatever Carrick is doing on that training pitch, it's working. It's clearly working because that was a great set piece. Obviously, something they definitely planned on the training ground. Ahmad with a clever assist for Mbeumo to just put it into the bottom corner. And it was an excellent finish and it kind of put our foot on the game. And then it was all about just keeping the momentum, staying controlled, making sure that, we put the game to bed. And it did take some time, of course, because of Vicario. I'm not going to lie to you. I do have to give him his props because Vicario was the reason why Tottenham was still in the game. I think he made a few great saves. And if it wasn't for him, this could have easily been an ugly scoreline. But he's obviously kept him in the game, made some great saves. And then, of course, we go into halftime. Second half was quite similar. Again, I just felt like majority of this game, we were in control. We were compact. We were organised. We played this with the same level of intensity that we have been in previous games. And it was kind of inevitable that the second goal would eventually come. And it does come. It comes in the form of Bruno Fernandez with a tidy, instinctive finish. I'm not going to lie to you, it was a very clever finish. At first, I wasn't sure if he meant it on purpose, but then when you look on the replay, you can actually see that he did deliberately let the ball hit off his shin. And again, 2-0, a comfortable result for Manchester United. And I need to discuss a couple of players. I do need to discuss a couple of players that I feel like deserve props, deserve to be praised, and deserve their flowers this season. First of all, I'm going to start off with Bryan Mbeumo. Bryan Mbeumo, for me, at the moment, is the best right winger in the league. Like, I don't care what anyone tells me. There isn't a winger in this league right now that I feel like is better than Bryan Mbeumo. Before, you could have said Antoine Semenyo, and I probably would have agreed. But I'm not going to lie to you, man. Since the start of this new year, Brian Mbeumo, since he's come back from AFCON, has been pivotal. And he's been like that for Man United all season. Just carried off where he left off after he came back from AFCON. And for me, at the moment, if I had to pick one winger in this league, it's Brian Mbeumo. And I know he isn't really playing as a traditional winger right now, but it's the fact that he has that versatility, the fact that he could play across the front line, the fact that his pace, his power, the fact that he can drive with the ball, get in behind, link up play. He's exceptional, man. He's got everything you'd want in an attacker, and it's not a surprise that he's got the most numbers for us in terms of goals this season. And what a signing he's been, 63 million. I'm not gonna lie to you, as time is going on, that price is starting to look like a bargain. Because I feel like by the time he ends up maybe leaving Manchester United, it's a price tag that nobody's even talk about. The same way when we signed Bruno for good money. We signed him for about 60 million. No one ever talks about Bruno Fernandez's price tag because of what he's delivered. And I think Mbeumo will follow suit. It's very hard for me, I'm not gonna lie, to pick out a standout player today, because I genuinely believe that every single player on this pitch performed well for us. It's very hard to fault any of the players, from the goalkeeper Lamens to the back line, to the midfield, to the attack, Cunha, Ahmad, and Mbeumo. Everyone I felt like had a good game. I thought the subs came on, they made an impact. It's very hard to fault anyone. It's very hard to complain right now as a Manchester United fan about anyone or anything right now. I can't lie, over these last few games, the performances have been good. Of course, last week was a bit of a scare, but in terms of individual performances, it's very hard to fault anyone. And another player I need to talk about is Bruno Fernandez. Now, this is where a lot of people start to get uncomfortable, where rival fans start to get uncomfortable, because this player, what you are seeing this season is nothing new, in my opinion. Personally, I don't think anything you're seeing from Bruno Fernandes this season is anything different from what we've seen previously. It's just that this season, I think he's just getting noticed more. I think people are just giving him more respect. And maybe it's to do with the fact that Kevin De Bruyne is not in this league anymore. Because I always felt that Kevin De Bruyne was the only midfielder in the Premier League that you could say was better than Bruno Fernandes. But since Kevin De Bruyne has left the league, it's like almost like there's more spotlight on Bruno Fernandes. And now everyone's starting to notice his brilliance, or everyone's starting to recognize the great player that he is. It's very, very simple. And for me, Bruno Fernandes this season, if they had to pick one player right now to win the PFA Player of the Year award, it's Bruno Fernandes. I don't think there's a better player than Bruno Fernandes right now in this current moment in time. And of course, PFAs tend to go to teams that, the player of the team that tends to win the title, which at the moment, Arsenal are currently sitting at first. So if they were to win the title, it would obviously give the go to an Arsenal player. But if we actually talk about just performances and output this season, it has to be Bruno Fernandes. He's the best player in the league by far. And I always said that I felt like Bruno Fernandes' judgment, or the judgment on Bruno Fernandes, has always been clouded by Manchester United and their form and all the problems that we've had and the bad years that we had, because he's been through our hardest times at this club. Through thick and thin, he's been there. And I'm always going to be loyal to Bruno Fernandes because of the fact that he had opportunities to leave. He could have left. He could have done a Harry Kane and gone somewhere like Barcelona or Bayern or whatever and won trophies and made his CV look better. But he stays true to the course. He stayed true to the club. He stayed true to the fans and stuck to the cause. And I feel like, for me, that's a player that I could never turn my back on. I can never turn my back on. I will never, ever utter the words that Bruno Fernandes should ever leave this football club. He can leave when he wants to leave. That's how I look at it. That's our captain. That's our leader. And yeah, I'm glad that people are starting to recognize the amazing player that he is. So yeah, he got his goal and we keep the momentum going. So that's 4 wins in a row. So United's trying to get that barber ready to book that appointment on Tuesday, because I promise you, Tuesday is going to be 5 wins in a row for Manchester United. 5 wins in a row for Manchester United. I feel like we should all get our trims. I feel like everyone should get trims. I think we should all unite. I think we should all get a haircut on Tuesday. But yeah, in terms of obviously going into the next game, West Ham, it is an opportunity for us again to, keep the momentum going. Obviously, it's away from home, but West Ham, they've been a bit poor this season. They are in a relegation scrap. And the way we're playing, I don't see why we can't just go there and get a comfortable win and collect the 3 points. But yeah, Michael Carrick, you are changing lives, my brother. And like I said, the best part about it is the fact that we aren't going into games with this anxious feeling. Everyone's starting to understand what the team looks like. People understand how we are going to play, how we're going to be set up. And I think you can't ask for more than that. Of course, yes, naturally, there will be, areas for improvement and plays that you might start looking at saying, maybe this player could play, or maybe you could switch this up a little bit or tweak this. But at the moment, in terms of the performance levels, it's been the best I've seen in quite some time. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't remember the last time we played with this level of dominance and confidence. And you can see the unity in the players. You can see that the players genuinely enjoy playing, and you can see us fans now starting to enjoy watching the team play, and that's the most you can ask for. Of course, it's sad because I feel like this is a team that could have easily have been in a title race. You know, this is a team that could have easily been competing for the title, and I feel like if we had let go of Amram maybe at least a couple months earlier, you know, who's to say we couldn't be right now up there with the Man Cities and the Arsenals, you know, to compete. Because I look at all the games that we've won this season. We've won all our hard games, all the top teams, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, every top team. We've won all the difficult games pretty much. Most of the difficult games that we've had, we've won. But we've dropped points in all the games that we were expected to win. You know, Everton 10 men, Leeds, West Ham at home, Burnley away. And if we had won all of those games, the gap would have been a lot more closer. And we could have at least put a bit of pressure on Arsenal, you know, and made a charge for the title. So, of course, for us right now, it's one game at a time. We've got 13 games left this season, and you never know. You never know what could happen in this league. Crazier things have happened in this league. I go back to when we won the league in 2008, and I remember us being 12 points behind Arsenal around pretty much the same time. It was a season when Eduardo, the striker for Arsenal, got injured. He had the horrific leg break, and I think that kind of derailed Arsenal's season. And we ended up closing that gap and going on to win the title. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. Of course, this Arsenal team, I think, are far much better or are playing at a much higher level than the Arsenal team at that time. But like I said, things have happened. Weird things have happened in this league before. So as long as we do our job, that's all we can do. And then we'll let the rest take care of itself. But right now, we just need to be focused on our games. 1 game a week, 13 games left to play. And then we'll take it from there. We'll see where we end up finishing. But one thing I am definitely confident about is that we will definitely finish in the Champions League spot. I don't see why we can't unless we somehow capitulate, which at the moment would be, you know, crazy given the way we're performing right now under Michael Carrick. But can't complain, man. That's 3 points in the bag. Yeah, on to West Ham, and hopefully that's another 3 points. Let me know where you think Manchester United could be come end of the season, what your expectations are, and any other comments as well in terms of the game or on Manchester United. But yeah, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.